Hey, Quizat here. I am the project director for Eleon Adventures, as most of you know, and just wanted to wish for a happy new year to the Eleons community. In anticipation of the game's launch this year, we're releasing the developer Q&A video. It was meant to come out last year, but as we've been working on development, some answers have changed and some questions that we couldn't answer before we can now respond to. Now that we have accurate, up-to-date answers, we have Eleon developers answering all the important questions regarding Eleons. For our first topic, we will be going into the artist department with our lead creature artist, Moigam.
Greetings, fellow bystanders. I am Moigam, a concept designer for Eleons for as long as its creation, and I'm also the guy who does the official renders for the bulk of nearly all Eleons. I have been tasked with introducing how we design concepts, and I'm happily obliging. With that, I can finally show you the first ever creature that was made for what is now called Eleon Adventures. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, all you need to know was that before Eleons, there was Dweller Battlegrounds. I created Dweller alongside Quiz, who first came to me with interest in Dymelion. Up to today, that has led me to believe if Dymelion was never conceptualized in the first place, Dweller and Eleons by proxy wouldn't have been made in the same manner in the first place. It was me who actually came up with the names Dweller and Eleons. However, that's besides the point. I just wanted to say that Dymelion means too much to me as a concept artist, an artist in general, and as a big reason why I'm still here today, still making concepts. Dymelion was created by a basic concept of making a flashlight lizard. Why? I had a bendable lamp at that time, and it reminded me of a chameleon's prehensile tail. So naturally, I fused those two ideas together. In hindsight, there were reasons the concept meshed well together other than that one correlation. 1. Robot reptiles have been recently created for various purposes, studying dinosaur movements, and for finding survivors after earthquakes, to name a few. 2. Chameleons are known to change colors, which can be replicated by LED lights and strawberry-shaped light bulbs, the latter of which makes up the sail on Dymelion's back and its tail. 3. The filament that lights up the light bulb can be bent to look like a spiral, both in design and in a real-life practical sense. It's used as a cheek pattern and references the coiled tongue chameleons are often portrayed with. And finally, 4. Lizards bask in the sun to warm themselves up because they're cold-blooded, and the sun can be portrayed as one glorified light bulb. Robots can be portrayed as cold-blooded because they were never real animals in the first place. Now, expanding on visuals. Dymelion was made to be simple due to its nature as a 3-stage line. I thought by making it small and having a normal-shaped light bulb as its head made it visually iconic. I also had a few drawings from my time in Monsters of Etheria to further that sentiment. And today, I am glad that Dymelion remained unchanged design-wise for as long as it had. It's been around 5 years now, and I'm grateful to still see it here for Eleons, and here is some concept art of it throughout the years. Also, small note, Dymelion's name was a combination of dim-witted, and chameleon, referencing the growth Dymelion would have taken in its evolutionary line. Eleon coincidentally has a place in its name, but it has no part in the creation of Eleon Adventures as a name. Honestly, saying this to myself right now, I think I'm a fortune teller. But jokes aside, from what you've heard, Dymelion's concept had more thought to it than what you see on the surface, and this remains the same for all other Eleons. Eleons were never created using AI, so to conclude, Eleons take a lot of reasoning, whether purely conceptually or from real-world inspirations, to make designs stick into one cohesive mass. I hope that you enjoyed this extravagant rant, and now, on to the next developer.
Hello everyone, I'm Corndog the Pixel Wizard, and I'm a writer, designer, and spriter for Eleons. First, I would like to continue where Moigam left off in regards to the design process. A while back, we received some accusations that our designs were AI generated. I would like to say that none of us support AI image generators, as their content is mainly produced through stolen artwork, and their use is highly disrespectful to real artists. Posmeroth was the main target of these accusations, which is ironic, because it's almost as old as Daimelion and has gone through countless drafts. Its design process actually started in August of 2021, when I was first contacted to work on Dweller. Quiz asked me to refine a concept of his, which was a fluffy, pure-hearted, dog-like moth, and I quickly produced the first draft of the modern Posmeroth, which at the time resembled a Pomeranian more closely than its current incarnation. It went through a couple changes for its then finalized design, but during the transition to Eleons, it gained one last revision into its finished design. Now here's the render process of its final sketch being digitized and turned into its official artwork. Anyways, now that we're done with that, it's time for me to move on to something really exciting, which is there going to be a demo? And what's it going to be like? The demo is going to be a separate, self-contained story. You will not need to play the demo to understand the main story, but it does preview a few things that you will see in the full game. The demo will be paid access, and the money earned will be used to fund future game updates. There will be nothing exclusive to the demo, and playing the demo will not garner you any kind of advantage over other players, but playing the demo will net you a taste of some previously unrevealed Eleons and give you a unique set of battles to win and areas to explore. The demo will involve an Eleon catching field day, where players can capture a variety of both revealed and completely new Eleons. These Eleons will not only be usable in the demo, but will be able to be transferred to the main game once the demo closes and the main game releases. They will have a unique capture location and come with some items to help you get started. The demo is progressing smoothly and will be out pretty soon. Second question, what is the story and gameplay of the main game going to be like? The main game is going to be very plot-centric. The game's campaign revolves heavily around exploration of both areas and characters. The lore goes extremely deep in regards to world building, characters' histories, the ecology of Eleons, and the function and intricacies of magic. Without spoiling the plot of the game, it will focus on the relationship a person has with their friends, their goals, and their identity, and use Eleon taming and what it means to people as a medium to explore said relationships. The story will contain darker themes as well. However, the game will not contain graphic content and will not be maturely rated. In terms of game progression, the player will conquer many unique challenges in order to complete the game. Tournaments where tamers compete for prestige and prizes, uniquely fierce and vehement wild Eleons defending sacred locations and powerful treasures, bad actors who seek to use Eleons to push their greedy and violent agendas, powerful, godlike Eleons of myth, and even environments and dungeons whose very nature pose a puzzle and a threat. We have a dedicated team of competitive players from multiple monster taming games who work to ensure that the game is easy to learn for new players, but will still provide a challenge and require real skill to beat. We have also already balanced the individual Eleons to where they're all fun, viable picks for both casual story mode and for the competitive scene. In order to access new areas and clear roadblocks, players can ride an eligible Eleon on their team for extra speed, to navigate difficult terrain, to remove obstacles, to cross water, and to fly around. The special riding gear for Eleons is earned as the game progresses. These do not need to be purchased as they are necessary for progress. Accessibility is also a major focus of the game. Everything from UI colors to sprite style to item descriptions have been carefully selected for accessibility without having to skimp on style. Side quests will also contain trigger warnings where applicable, and flashing or disorienting visual effects will not be used without ample warnings and the ability to opt out. Finally, single-use consumables will not be sold for Robux. So that's basically everything players will need to know regarding the demo, story, and gameplay. I'm happy I got to share it with everyone as I'm very passionate about writing. Time to move on to the next developer segment.
Greetings everyone, my name is Agency, and I'm one of the balancers of Eleon Adventures. Today, I'll be answering what's different with the battle system. The type chart is unique. Types include Basic, Nature, Pyro, Hydro, Electric, Geo, Ice, Light, Dark, Martial, Metal, Psychic, Soul, Toxic, Wind, and Mystic. Abilities are replaced with passives. Most Eleons will only have one regular and one hidden passive. Eleons have a regular passive by default, but certain special encounters, gifts, or defeated boss Eleons will have their hidden passive. It's also possible to use a special trading method to change an Eleon's passive between regular and hidden. Instead of weather or terrain effects, there are battlefields. They add special effects to the battle, strengthening certain moves, giving certain types an advantage, and even adding unique hazards. Some, but not all of the battlefield effects include Overgrown, which prevents nature and toxic moves from missing and certain status conditions from healing on their own. And Enchanted, which slightly boosts the power of psychic and mystic moves and causes the secondary effects of all moves to activate twice as often. There are many more types of battlefields to facilitate all types of playstyles. Battlefields summoned through the use of a move will be permanent, while those summoned through a passive effect last only a few turns. The stat system are similar to Pokemon's. There's health, strength, endurance, magic power, resistance, and speed. There is no energy stat, and each move has a specific amount of usage points that determines how many times that move can be used. Moves will have a unique amount of usage points. Some have 15 UPs, some have 8, some have 20, some might even only have a couple. There are many new move mechanics. For instance, one of these mechanics is piercing moves, which are a special category of moves that ignore all of the opponent's defense boost stat stages, items, passives, and all. Status conditions have been overhauled. Statuses include sleep, which causes your Eleon to be drowsy for one turn and then be unable to move for a few turns afterwards. Panic, which causes healing to be only half as effective and the secondary effects of moves to not work. Freeze, which has the power of range attacks and has a chance to prevent the Eleon from moving, among more traditional statuses like poison and burn. Envenomation replaces bad poison, and though more moves can inflict it, fewer Eleons can learn them. I'm also very excited to try out the new Eleons in battle. Enough being said, I'll pass it over to our next balancer and they will cover our next topic about PvP.
What's up? I'm Phantom, another balancer for Eleons, and I'll be going over PvP prep. So, what is PvP prep going to look like? EVs will be replaced with training values, or TVs. The player will manually choose how many of them and to what stat they're assigned to. In other words, you don't have to train in specific ways to get the stat spread you desire, as long as you train enough. The TVs you earn are generic and don't go to any specific stat until you choose the stat you want them to be assigned to. Once they are earned, they're permanent, meaning that removing them from a specific stat will not force you to completely retrain the Eleon. They will go back into the pool of unspent TVs for you to reassign them to a new stat spread. Breeding will be in first release. It will be a means of obtaining PvP-ready Eleons more easily, but there will be nothing completely exclusive to breeding that causes wild-caught Eleons to be at an inherent disadvantage. Egg moves will be a means of obtaining moves normally only learned through scrolls, tutors, and high levels on Eleons more easily. And no move will be unobtainable without breeding. It will allow you to guarantee Eleons are born with certain skills without needing to train them, and will let you produce more Eleons that are hard to find in the wild reliably. You do not have to breed if you don't want to. It's solely a tool for obtaining the Eleons you want in an easier way. Natures are replaced with skills. Skills do not have a downside and are a 10% boost to their corresponding stat. Strong boosts strength, resilient boosts endurance, adept boosts magic power, and tenacious boosts resistance, as well as that swift will be boosting agility. There is no skill for the health stat. Replacing the worse than useless neutral nature is the well-rounded skill, which boosts all stats by 2.5% or about a 14th. Skills can be replaced with a different one through a special method. Move scrolls will be used to teach Eleons new moves. They're single use, but completely renewable, meaning you will not need to trade with other players to ensure you have enough, although it's an option if you don't want to spend your time or in-game money getting more. On top of being able to be found, purchased, and earned, you can also use a blank scroll to copy the move of an existing scroll. IVs do not exist. All Eleons of the same species and the same TV spread have the same stats. If you deliberately want to lower your Eleon stats, you do that manually through the use of a special item.
And with that being said, I'll pass it over to our next balancer.
Hey guys, Neil here, and I'll be going over the balancing segment as like LSU and Phantom. The question I'll be answering is, what is competitive going to be like? A competitive ladder will now be implemented in the first release due to the small pool of available Eleons and moves, but casual matches with customizable rule sets will exist. The second major update of the game will introduce a ranking system. Once the competitive rankings are introduced, players will be able to participate in ranked matches to climb the rankings and earn prizes. The ELO ranking system will be used, which awards players more for beating higher ranked opponents than it does for beating lower ranked opponents. The rankings will reset at the end of every month, where the rule sets will be updated, balancing tweaks will be made, and the prizes will be distributed. Exclusive Eleon reskins will be available to everyone who participates in competitive, regardless of their final rankings for the month, provided they have battled enough times. Larger and more non-exclusive rewards will be given to players with the highest rankings. Exactly what these rewards are will not be revealed yet, but they may include in-game items and cosmetics. We will support other metagames too, including ones that completely lack rules ones that only allow the use of unevolved Eleons, ones that use rental Eleons, and more. These minigames will be added gradually as the roster of available Eleons expands and the minigame diversifies. And that's everything regarding PvP. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. This is Neo signing off.
Hey guys, Alpha Wolf Music here. I just wanted to quickly talk about how the music for Eleon Adventures is going. So seeing as I'm part of several creature capture games in development right now, I'm trying to make sure that each game has its own musical identity. In the case of Eleon Adventures, I've really gotten to experiment with instruments and genres I don't really use normally in my compositions, such as saxophone and elements of jazz. I'm using electronic instruments like electric guitar or synthesizers and even beat machines. It's really exciting. So to create a distinctly Eleon sound, I'm going to be taking more of a jazz approach as opposed to my normal orchestral approach. An instrument you're commonly going to see is going to be the saxophone. Saxophone being a pretty common jazz instrument. It's not to say that I won't be using a wide variety of instruments, because I definitely will, and some stuff will sound cinematic or orchestral, but all in all, I'm going for the jazz feel, so saxophone helps me achieve that. It's kind of like how the third generation of Pokemon games are defined by the heavy use of brass instruments. By focusing on saxophone, or maybe some other instruments down the line, I create a sound that sounds like Eleon as opposed to Feralites or Paramount or whatever I might end up working on in the future. But anyways, that's really all I have to say about the music right this second. I'm really excited for everyone to hear what I've written, and I hope I get to share more soon, maybe talk a little bit more about the process for Eleon. But until then, thanks for listening, and keep following Eleon's progress.
To finish off the Q&A, we have a few words from our video editor and promoter, Kirby Green, who says, "Thank you everyone for supporting the game this year and for sharing your interest in the game across YouTube and Twitter. It helps a lot to spread the word about the game online so that more people can learn about Eleons. Look forward to a trailer for the upcoming demo very soon." And now it's back to Quizot to give the closing remarks.
Thank you everyone for tuning into the Q&A and listening to what each developer has to say. I have one last thing to touch upon, and that's confirming the release window of Eleon Adventures. The demo will likely, if possible, no promises, release this upcoming spring, and the official release of the final game will come out before the end of 2024. At least that's what we're hoping for. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait for everyone to start their adventure.